Did One Bernam just kill this launch, or does Newport Residences actually still have a very good chance in this current market? Welcome back to my channel, everyone, and in today's video, I'll be discussing on Newport Residences. I'll be doing a project review and also discussing some of the comparisons nearby, especially in the Tanjong Pagar region. So stay tuned to the end of the video to find out more. So now we have this newspaper article dating back to April 2023, and you can see over here CDL Newport Residences preview was postponed. So I think this one was just bad timing because they were just directly hit by the ABSD from the government as well. And then you can see in the article as continued, Newport Residences is a 246 unit freehold luxury apartment at Onze Road, and then it's scheduled to start previews this weekend. And the agents also back then already said that the prices could be north of $3,000 per square feet. And then on hindsight, it might be good like CDL actually hold back the launch, because now word on the ground is they're going to be launching it much higher lah. But then if you compare the landscape, it does feel like actually $3,000 per square feet non-harmonized for a CCR freehold area, it does seem very palatable, And now continuing on, you also can see that Singapore, they actually announced the new property cooling measures for the additional buyer stamp duty for foreigners, which doubled to 60% back then. So I think this, especially during the 2023-2024 timing, the CCR segment, especially the luxury segment that was maybe a huge proportion belonging to the foreigners, they were directly impacted by this. Just to give you guys some context on what was the rates before April 2023. So previously for foreigners, it was 30% ABSD, but then after the cooling measures entered the market, it was a whopping 60%, which is still ongoing as of today. And then you can see even for the Singapore citizens, for the second property, they actually changed from 17% to 20%, and then for the third and subsequent properties, it changed from 25% to 30%. I think PR also had quite a bit of adjustment, but I won't touch too much on the PR side. Yeah, but other than that, generally the bigger entities like maybe in the luxury segment, you see, because they hit even the entities, the trustees, all these kind of indirectly impacting the ultra luxury buyers, because in the end, if their names are already used up, then they would most likely still have to use their kids' name, all this. But this trustees portion that they introduced the additional ABSD, it really does make the purchase a lot more unaffordable, because this is all cash portion, although it is still remittable. But in the end, this is the cash that is needed upfront. So I think it's not easy to make the purchase as compared to last time's 35%. For those of you that's not too familiar with the Tanjong Pagar area, basically I've circled these two plots which I'll be using for the first part of the segment. First up, we have the Newport Residences, also known as Newport Plaza on the map itself. And you can see we are right beside the expressway AYE. And then right above Newport Residences, we also have One Bernam. Okay, so One Bernam is going to be DOP much earlier. And earlier in this video, I did mention about if One Bernam actually just killed this new launch, which is Newport Residences, and I'll cover that later on, because for those of you that's familiar with One Bernam, they actually launched much earlier, but the developer only decided to do a fire sale as the TOP was coming and the ABSD date was ending soon. So the developer had to clear the stock, and I think this might present big price gap in terms of the PSF. So stay tuned if you want to find out more. Over here, moving on to the fire sale at One Bernam, you can see this actually happened in the CNY period earlier this year. And One Bernam, this was also known as the CNY Mega Promotion. And then you can see, they actually have massive discounts of up to 830,000, and this was from 2,400 PSF onwards. And do remember, guys, if you have been noticing in the past launches, especially in the CCR region, their PSF, you already know what's the PSF that they're launching at and what is the take-up rate like. For One Bernam to sell at 2004 PSF non-harmonized, so maybe you adjust for 5%, it could be in the 2,500 PSF range starting from. I would say this is quite an attractive entry PSF for a project that's gonna be DOP in 1 year's time. And then you can see the details here. For one bedders, you're gonna be starting from 1.25 million, two bedrooms 1.735 million, 2 plus study from 1.955 million, 3 bedrooms from 3.496 million. Overall, in terms of quantum, I do see that this is actually a very attractive quantum in today's market already. Actually, in fact, some of the maybe RCR projects, the two bedders, you can easily see they're going to be even more expensive than what we see at One Bernam as well. So over here are the transacted prices in January this year. from the fire sale itself. So I'm just gonna start off by the cheapest unit and just give you a range and a sensing of what's going on here. So over here on 16th of January 2025, you can see that this 21st floor unit, right, 2109, and this is a 807 square feet unit type, and they are transacted at 1.861 million at 2305 PSF. So I think definitely for a 20 plus floor unit now, this PSF really quite attractive already, and this is the lower range. And you can see for the lower range, you got a few units up to even 2004 PSF. So the range is between 2003 to 2004 range. You already have a sensing on what is the starting from prices for one Bernam. And then now I just want you to visualize. Imagine you're a buyer at Newport Residences next year January, and imagine that maybe they start the PSF from 3002 3003 PSF range, because it's a very luxurious development and it's also a freehold development. Now think about that. You already have a plot list right above you transacted in the 2003 to 2004 PSF range, just 1 year apart. I mean, I'm not saying this is a project mainly for investment, all this, but I would say buyers in the market, let's say if you want to sell next time, they will definitely compare this amount, because when I look at this amount, right, of about maybe $900 to $1,000 per square feet difference, even though maybe it's a different kind of segmentation, it's more luxurious freehold development, it does raise a concern for me, because in terms of starting from prices, I think even for the same bedroom type, it's going to be very different in terms of quantum, and especially it's going to be side by side. But of course for Newport Residences, the building is going to be much higher for the residence on the starting from floor. Yeah, so do bear in mind for that. Let's take a look right on the higher PSF transacted at one Bernam itself. So this happened in May 2023. So this is also 2-bedroom unit on the 25th floor, and this is an 829 square feet unit, and this actually transacted at 3010 PSF. So you can see, right, just within one Bernam itself, you already have a PSF gap of even $700, $600 PSF range. So I would say in the development itself, you already have such a huge disparity. And can I safely say that the buyer in May 2023 made a poor purchase? Definitely, because if you take a look at what is already transacted in 2025 this year, I think in terms of the PSF gap within the same development, maybe there is a difference in terms of facing or layout, but let's put that all aside. Okay, even if you factor all those, right, we shouldn't be seeing a PSF gap of like 600-700, especially when they are still in the 20 plus floor range, because I can understand if maybe your unit is on the ground floor versus a top floor unit, but in this case they are both still 20 plus floor units. So I would say overall this is quite a big price gap for the buyers even within the same development. So now let's think a little bit further also. Imagine your Newport Residences, and if they are selling the top floor units close to $3,800, maybe even $4,000 per square feet, because I don't know how CDR will actually price this development. So this can actually result in a 600-700 PSF range minimally. And then you can see for this one Bernam higher PSF range, right, we are looking at between $2,800 to $3,000 per square feet. But I would say most of the buyers, if they are looking at Newport Residences, definitely they will look at the recent transactions now. Cannot be you will look at the transactions 1-2 years ago one. So I think the most relevant transactions definitely will still be the ones that is at one Bernam during the fire sale period. Maybe you can let me know in the comment section what do you think about this, because overall I feel like for this transaction, because it's still very fresh, right, maybe CDL has to price it more carefully. If not, I think it's going to be quite intense competition to actually move the units out. Alright, so enough of the speculation. Let's take a closer look, right, on more concrete examples that we can actually use and study from to potentially see what's going to happen for Newport versus one Bernam. And I think a more recent example will be in the River Valley area. I think this is going to be quite interesting case study. So this one will be for Martin Modern versus Avenir. Why I actually choose these two, because Martin Modern is still pretty much earlier than Avenir, so I think it's a 3-4 year gap lah. And Martin Modern is also a 99-year project, whereas for Avenir it is a freehold project. So definitely they are nearby also in the same district. Then I think it's going to be a very good case study to see, right, what is the PSF gap that was actually done for them and what is the prices like in today's market, especially when it's already been a few years since the TOP. Okay, so first up we have Martin Modern. So this is 99-year lease project that TOP in 2021. I collated all the prices that is transacted in 2021, right? The PSF back then they transacted is between 2004 PSF range all the way to $3,000 per square feet range. And then fast forward to 2025, Martin Modern has already TOP for about 4 years, and the PSF transacted in 2025, the range is from $2,500 per square feet range all the way to $2,900 per square feet range. So you can see over the past 4 years, right, actually the PSF for Martin Modern never really moved much, especially in the River Valley area. Well, so now let's take a look at Avenir. So Avenir, right, this is a freehold development and TOP this year 2025, and back then when it was still in the launch phase, the PSF transacted in 2021 was actually in the $2,700 per square feet range all the way to $3,400 per square feet. And fast forward to today, 2025, you really can see that the transactions, the PSF has went up quite a bit. The range is from $2,800 per square feet all the way to $3,800 per square feet. So a whopping 1,000 PSF gap within the same development. These two projects, Martin Modern, a 99-year leasehold that TOP earlier, versus Avenir, that is a freehold development that TOP this year. So they are about 4 or 5 years apart, and you can see right back then the price gap in 2021 in terms of PSF, we are looking at $300 to $400 PSF gap, and fast forward to today 2025, you can see the gap still remains not too far apart in $300 to $900 PSF range. Of course, for the higher end one, they went much higher lah. But I think for Martin Modern, the prices remain kind of stagnant. Okay, so right now, since we already have a past case study of kind of what to expect, especially this is a CCR and a similar gap in terms of the TOP years versus a 99 and a freehold project, right? Now let's take a look right on how we can apply this to our current situation. Over here, I have one Bernam 99-year lease project that is gonna be TOP in 2026, and then the PSF transacted in 2025, we have from 2,300 plus range to even 3,000 PSF range. Of course, the 3,000 PSF one, that will be in 2023 lah. So this is the range that is already been done at one Bernam versus Newport Residences, which is freehold lease, TOP 2030, and the PSF that is expected to transact in 2026, I'm looking at maybe 3,002 PSF starting from to probably 3,008 like that. And do bear in mind that this is non-harmonized, but at least one Bernam is also non-harmonized, so it's a more apple to apple comparison. At today's PSF gap, right, at let's say 2026, it's not exaggerating to say like it's around $900 per square feet range. And imagine another 4 years down the road in 2030 when Newport Residences is gonna TOP, will it have the same effect where the more expensive units will still pull away from the prices at one Bernam, or it will still continue to match the gap at one Bernam, or even come down? Maybe you can let me know in the comment section of how you actually look at the Tanjong Pagar area, because from what we see at Avenir in the River Valley area, it does seem like maybe the bigger units or more favorable facing, the PSF actually went up even higher, even for the more premium units at Avenir. But that one could be isolated case. But what about Newport Residences? Will it have the same effect, especially for the more premium facing units? Because if you guys know this development, actually they're selling a lot based on the views, and the units are starting on pretty high floor. Maybe you can let us know. Alright, so now I'm gonna be doing a project review right for Newport Residences. For the project information for Newport Residences, the developers are CDL. I think most of you already know, quite a renowned developer in Singapore. And the description for the project, this is part of Newport Plaza, a 45-story high development. It's also mixed use of 246 units, including a super penthouse, elevated from level 23 to 45, and it's in District 2's freehold development, expected TOP 2030, and also a 54,000 square feet of land. Car park lots also quite decent, about 50% allocation. 131 lots. For the builders and architects, I think these are all very seasoned ones. For the architect side, you got Niken, ADPP. Builders, you got Wohab and EcoPlan, all very seasoned names in the market. Now moving on to the unit mix, you got the 1-bedroom types, 431 square feet to 495 square feet, you have 86 units. 1 plus study 581 square feet, 22 units, 2 bedrooms 646 to 753 at 24 units, 2 bedroom premium 689 square feet to 710, 30 units available, 2 plus study 818 to 926 square feet, 33 units available, 3 bedders 980 square feet, 7 units only, 3 bedroom premium 1206 square feet, 15 units available, 3 plus study 1227 10 units, 4 premium 2067 square feet, 18 units, and last but not least we have the super penthouse unit, which is 12,960 square feet and only 1 unit available. So over here you can see, right, the CDL, they actually prioritize a lot of the units on the 1 and the 2 bedders. I can see this being a big draw because later I will share more, right, on my experiences on my Wallich unit also, because I serve a seller over there. I think this will give you a better overview lah. But I think overall, right, for having one and two bedders as a more units in this development does make sense as compared to having the bigger unit types, because I think when they maybe the market demand over there, I think people that are staying there most likely they may be working in the area, or maybe they are just looking at a rental place. For the bigger unit types, right, I think for family wise it might not be so appealing, especially if you have younger kids. It's not your usual like OCR, RCR kind of profile that is buying to this area, but I do see like maybe the OCR, RCR buyers buying into the 1 and 2 bedders, because those does make sense. Let's say if they work in office nearby for the big profiles, no kids, and then they maybe have a pet dog, etc. Here is the overview of the entire development, and then starting from the bottom we have retail restaurant component at level 1. So I think that's why this is like a mixed use development, right? That's why the PSF is gonna be at this price range. And then offices are level 2 to level 9, and also combined with 6 roof terraces. Very beautiful. Service apartments from level 10 to level 22, then also have sky terrace and sky gardens. And then for the residential component, level 23 to 45 plus a roof garden, and then sky terrace and also other sky gardens. And last but not least, you have the crown at 215 meters above sea level, equivalent to 60 residential stories. So over here you also have another artist's impression of how Newport Residences will actually look like on the skyline along the Tanjong Pagar area. Okay, so over here I have the elevation chart for Newport Residences, and then you can see basically those type A's, they are the 1 bedders, and then for the type B's they are the 2 bedders, type C 3 bedders, type D 4 bedders. And here you can see on the 34th floor we have this club vista, and then in between, right, you got a couple of play gardens, wellness gardens, fitness gardens, and then of course on the roof garden you got Newport Sky. I think one thing to take note, per floor, right, it is not your typical like 3-meter high. If I'm not wrong, at Newport Residences their per floor unit is about 3.3 meters high. And then you can see for the lower floors, 22nd floor is the sky apartment. For the 22nd floor, this is the service apartment sky terrace, and then you got the service apartment with the sky gardens, and then service apartment sky terrace. And then the 2nd to 9th floor is the office, and then so on and so forth. And for the B1 you also got office and restaurants, the car park. B2 residential and service apartment car park, and then B3 is the residential car park. So this one will be the like private lift kind of. So overall this is how it will look like for the elevation chart for Newport Residences. Over here you can see this is the site plan for the entire Newport Residences. And then the one demarcated in red color, this is the main tower profile. And then also you can see this is the Newport Residences lobby, demarcated in the red color portion. And you have the restaurants also on the level 1. And then you got the privately owned public space. So this one, right, I think is meant to be like circulation kind of space, so that the public can also enter the Newport Residences area easily. Developers just trying to give it like a little bit more vibrance and traffic into the public space. And you got the parking for the bicycles, taxi stand right outside Bernam Street area, and then you also got the pedestrian overhead bridge linking from the level 1 towards Prince Edward Road MRT station. And then you also got the 3.6 meter perimeter covered walkway lah. And then for the main entrances, for the pick up and drop off is demarcated in red arrows, and then for the blue colors one will be the entrances or the exit to the basement car park. And then we are surrounded by Bernam Street, Tanjong Pagar Road and Keppel Road. And for those of you that is going towards Tanjong Pagar MRT station, just need to go north. If not, if you are taking the Circle Line, then you got the link bridge towards the MRT for Prince Edward Road MRT. Okay, so now going into the floor plan, right, for how each floor will actually look like. You can see this one, they follow a very similar concept as to Promenade Peak. So for the lower floors, they have a particular kind of floor plan, where else you go to the higher floor, which is where the bigger units are, right? They combine some of the units so that the smaller units become the bigger units on the higher floor. Yeah, so that's why I say it's kind of similar to what we see at Promenade Peak. So for the lower floors, between 23rd floor to 33rd floor, for the blue colors one, right, there are the lifts. So you got 2 lifts right beside stack 5 and stack 2, and then 1 lift right in front of stack 3. And for the red color one is the general waste chute plus recyclable waste chute lah. And then you can see over here, right, I don't know if you notice, basically in order to maximize the views of the development, CDL, they actually put the structural beam only in the middle. Okay, so this is right in front of stack 3 and stack 13, and the units is all going to be along this beam itself. This results in not having beams inside each of the units, and this kind of creates the unobstructed views, right, of the entire Tanjong Pagar area. And if you notice, for the higher floors one, which is between floor 35 to 44, they actually combine, right, the stack 3 and 13 for the lower floors into the bigger stack 3 units. Okay, and so very similar thing here also for the units, right, they have 3 passenger lift and also similar general waste chute and also the recyclable waste chute, and in the middle also is the structural beam support. I think overall this is what I like about the development. Maybe you can leave in the comment section. Maybe some people feel like, hey, wow, it only makes sense if my unit, right, is like right in front of the lift, so that's more convenient. But if I'm the units like maybe at stack 9, 10, 11 and 12, right, I actually have to walk one bit around the structural beam to actually get to my unit. But some people might feel like, hey, I have more privacy, I become a corner unit instead. Maybe you can let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Now moving on to the views for Newport Residences, you can see for CDL, they already designed this development in this triangle format, right? So definitely it's meant to be view maximizing. And then you can see for the north part, it's going to be facing towards the city view, and then for the left and the south side one, they'll be facing towards more of the sea view. Okay, so in terms of MRT, the closest one will be Prince Edward Road on the Circle Line. So this is about 200 meters away, 3 minutes walk. And then the next one will be Tanjong Pagar MRT, about 500 meters away, 6 minutes walk. And then last but not least, we also have Cantonment MRT station, 600 meters, and this is an 8-minute walk. Very likely you won't go towards Cantonment side already, because I think Prince Edward one will be much closer lah, and it's also Circle Line as well. Okay, so now moving on to the potential views for Newport Residences. On the north side, we have one Bernam. So this one is about 40 meters away from Newport Residences. And for one Bernam, right, it's about 35 stories high. So estimate is about 155 meters. And then the next one will be the ABI Plaza, Abbey Plaza. And this is on the 12 stories. It's about 70 meters high. Other than these 2 blocks, I think the rest are relatively a bit further away, so not too much of a concern. I think this will be my main 2 things that I'll look out for in terms of blocking the view. And then of course on the other side, the expressway side, the view will be relatively unblocked. Here we also have a cross section for the potential views. So towards one Bernam side, right, for the units 35th floor and below, very likely you will be blocked by one Bernam lah. You need to go on 35th floor and above, right, very likely then you can get the unblocked city view. So CDR has already told us this is the expected views over here. So do expect the 23rd floor to 33rd floor to have a much better pricing in terms of the PSF. Once you clear the one Bernam, it's not going to be that cheap. For the other side, which is facing the sea view side, you're still going to be getting a little bit of a block view in terms of the sea view, because AIG, the building is about 34 stories high, but they are not directly blocking the building itself, so you will still get partially unblocked view. But I think if you want the full unblocked view, same thing here, you also need to go to 35th floor and above. Okay, so this is the potential drone view that is taken by the developers. Okay, so this one is approximately at level 40 for Newport Residences. I mean, of course, the developer, they never show us what is the potential view gonna be like for the ones that is facing Mount Bernam directly. So this is towards the north side, which is the city view, and this one will be towards the northeast side. We will have the partial sea view already. Here is also on level 40, and this is how it look like. Definitely clear most of the buildings already. Okay, so right now I'm gonna be talking briefly about the facilities. I'm not gonna be touching on each and every single one of them. If you want to find out more, you can WhatsApp me at 84849302. So now I'm just gonna be discussing some of the more prominent ones. For facilities, you got the sky pool. Okay, then you can see you got the pool deck, sky spa pool, sky pool, and this one is approximately 200 meters up in the sky, so definitely gonna be very panoramic views. And you can see, right, they purposely did it at the corner of the building, so this one you really have the very nice sea view that is unblocked towards the expressway side. So next up, this is the Sky Club facility, and then you can see they did it at the northeast orientation, so you can kind of see you have the artist's impression on what you expect for the sea view over there. And I really like this Sky Club, the view and concept, because I think this kind of reminds me of the unit that I previously saw at Wallich Residences, right? The vibes is generally around there, but I think this one is a little bit more exclusive, and this one kind of gives you like more like you're at a restaurant kind of hotel vibes. Yeah, but I think of course over there you also got similar views, but it's not gonna be that close because after all, Wallich is integrated development. It's right above Tanjong Pagar MRT, but for Newport Residences it's already all the way right smack at the expressway already, so it's very close to the seaside. So over here you also got some of the smart apps and smart home systems that they already have provided you in terms of the community. Next up is also the premier residential services. This is like a signature for the CDL developments lah. So you can see you got like concierge services, transport arrangement, visitor assistance, etc. Living experience, you got like tower service, residential events. They can even help you accept parcels, self-serve beverage station, and service requests. You got like hotel reservations, laundry and housekeeping services, private chef, caterer. For those of you that have pets, also got pet care, grooming service, handyman service. So all these things does make the development, right, a little bit more premium. It just adds the little nitty-gritty to help you with your everyday life. So actually you don't really need to leave the development if you already want something that is all in one. Okay, so right now let's go into the show unit types. I won't be covering every single unit type, so for those of you that want a more detailed analysis, you can feel free to WhatsApp me at 84849302. So now carrying on to the show units. So at Newport Residences Showflat, right, first up we have the 2-bedroom premium. So this is type BP2, and they have a total of 20 units for this. So this is a 710 square feet unit, and then you can see it'll be on the 23rd floor to 33rd floor, and then after that they got the I think Sky Garden, then 35th floor all the way to the 44th floor. Okay, so this one will be facing towards the sea view side, and you can see basically all of the, not say all of the units, but some of the units, they have this metal canopy, right? This one maybe you can go to the show flat, they already have built it there. You can have a better visualization of how it actually looks like. It's like those like golden fins like that, okay? And here, this is a non-harmonized project, so this 710 square feet unit, it does include the AC latch, so do take note on that, okay? But overall, this is a very standard and very efficient dumbbell layout type. I think overall this one quite common nowadays in the market, and I think this one, the unit, right, it really stands out is in terms of the living room space and also how high the ceiling. And here of course I think because the structural beam is in the middle, so they don't really have windows for the bathroom and also the kitchen. I think this is quite common in all these Tanjong Pagar developments. So later on I'll also be comparing in the resale in the area, right? So you can kind of see like where does this unit, this 710 square feet kind of compare in the resale market. But overall I think quite standard, is a good layout type, very efficient, and then they have the fridge at the right beside the dining area over there lah. Oh, and also one more thing to add, at the balcony area, because it's facing towards the expressway side, they're gonna have these acoustic panels, right, to dampen the sound. So this is also part of the URA requirements lah, especially for those developments that is right beside the expressway. I think this is to mitigate the noise levels that you can hear within the development or the unit itself. So this is for the unit facade features. So you can see here at the very top, you got the aluminium railing with the top cover, so the aircon latch, and then you got the 600 perimeter aluminum films, which is not considered in the area, and also you got the laminated glass balustrade. And then the facade design features, you got full height curtain wall system facade, high performance glazing to lower the thermal heat gain to the residential unit interior, deep balcony and perimeter horizontal fins to shade the residential unit interior, and also last but not least, you got the laminated glass balustrade to balcony for unblocked view and better acoustic as well. Okay, so here this is just some of the photos that is at the show gallery itself. So you got the living dining area, you got the master bedroom. They are all in the modern contemporary fashion. And then over here you can see for the living and dining area, it says marble floor and also timber skirting. And then the top cabinet is in satin glass, kitchen countertop and backsplash in large format tiles, and also bottom and full height cabinets in timber laminate. And of course all these more luxurious finishings and fittings as well. So over here, this is also the snapshot of the bathrooms. You can see over here they have the different feature wall tiles, and as usual the fittings are also the more premium kinds of fittings. And then this is what you can expect for the development itself. For the bedrooms, you can see the bedroom floor will be in engineered timber, and then timber laminate for the sliding door wardrobe for both master bedroom and also the common bedroom wardrobe. Alright, so now moving on to the next show unit. This is the 4-bedroom type D1. You only have 17 units here, so definitely very exclusive. Okay, so this is a 2067 square feet unit. This one will be all the way from the starting floor, 23rd floor, all the way to the 44th floor. And you can see the shape, right? I mean, of course it's not the regular kind of 4-bedroom layout. This one they're gonna be following towards the best view of the development, and they're using the curve lah. So I think more similar layout type you can see probably will be at one per bank. This one also got the oval kind of facade, so this will play quite similar to that. The curved part, right, will be the metal canopy. So this one will be at the show flat. You can feel free to go and take a look and get a feel of how potentially the fins and the canopy will actually look like. I think main thing here, they have this full height glass curtain wall to all rooms framing, 180 degrees view towards the seaside, the greater southern waterfront, and then you got a very deep balcony and a very grand, huge, spacious living and dining area about 5.7 meters long. But of course, I think main thing for this unit, right, their kitchen, especially the wet kitchen, is a bit smaller compared to what we see in the maybe in the RCR or the OCR region. And I think this is quite similar, especially in the D2 area, Tanjong Pagar area. Later you can see when we take a look at the other resale there, I was quite like surprised that even for the other bigger types, right, and the other resale developments, their kitchen was also not very big one, and they have a very big dry kitchen, which is I think the main selling point here lah. And of course they also got the bathtub inside this unit, and I think it's one of the more rare ones already. Over here, this is a snapshot of the show unit itself. You can see this has the modern luxe theme, and then definitely the finishings all very solid. Next up, you can see for the bedrooms, basically all their floors are engineered timber. And then for the master bedroom, you got the glass swing door wardrobe, and then for the rest is the timber laminate. And then next up, you have the powder room and common bathroom. So I think gonna be quite similar to each other. And then they're basically in the large format tiles. And also the bathroom wall and floors, right, will be in porcelain tiles. Of course, we also have the wet kitchen. So this one, a top and full height cabinet in satin glass. And then you got the backsplash and the countertop in large format tiles. And also the cabinets are in timber laminate. So same thing here, very premium fittings as well. So next up, we have the master bathroom and also the junior master bathroom. So same thing, most of it is gonna be in the large format tiles. Master bathroom got the bathtub, and you can see the views is really gonna be maximizing the greater southern waterfront view. And then the bathroom walls and tiles are also in porcelain tiles, and also the premium fittings as well. Okay, for the kitchen appliances, for the 1-bedroom all the way to the super penthouse, you can take a screenshot here to see, right, which one is included, which one is not included. I won't go through too much because this one is quite self-explained. So same thing here, this is the sanitary wares and fittings. Then you can see there's a difference in terms of the smaller units all the way to the super penthouse. Of course, the super penthouse will have everything. So same thing here, you can take a pause and then just to see what is the differences between the different units. Right now, moving on to the case study, right, I have another one. This one is specifically for the 2-bedders in this Tanjong Pagar area. So first up, right, I'm going to be talking about Wallich Residence. Over here, you can take a look how Wallich actually looks like, and it's actually a very premium development. Now for Wallich Residence, right, I think this one everyone knows is by Guaco Land, Hong Leong as well, so definitely very reputable builders, very similar to CDM lah. So the main thing right from here is that the TOP is in 2017, so it's already about 8 years old, and the number of floors is 62 floors lah, so definitely much higher floor. And if you remember just now, I did mention it's kind of like an integrated development already, because they have the shops below, and then at the basement, the very bottom, you have the Tanjong Pagar MRT. So now for a unit breakdown, right, we have a total of 181 residential units, 36 one-bedders, 33 two-bedders, 3-bedders, we have 75 units, 4-bedders, you got 32 units, and then penthouse, you got 5 units over there. I think one of the more famous one was, I think, the one that Dyson bought over here. And then this is just a side plan of how Wallich Residence actually look like. I think at the bottom, they have a very nice like drop-off area at the Guaco Tower area. And yeah, this is kind of how it looks like. You can take a pause if you want to take a closer look. And over here, you can see this is a photo of me back in 2021. I think a lot has changed since then. I think it was already 4 years ago. Time really flies. And my experience with regards to this development, Wallich Residence, right, I think is very different from the usual, even the usual CCR buyers, okay? I think it's quite different, because for the buyer that bought over this unit that I was selling, right, this is actually a one-bedder, very high floor lah. For those of you who want to find out more, you can PM me, WhatsApp me 84849302. I can share with you in more detail on a more private setting. But online here, I just want to share the view. Definitely is very fantastic. It's very nice. The view is very unblocked. You can see this is the concierge area, right? Over here they have like spaces for you to sit, and then you can still get a coffee, tea, and they have like a butler that kind of serves you. I think it's very nice, and of course the overall development very premium as well. My experience, basically, the buyers that came to view this development, overall they are not looking a lot on investment one. It's really more for like trophy house kind of vibes. And my buyer that bought this, actually it was more for a trophy kind of purchase. And yeah, overall that was like the buyer profile here. I think I was marketing this unit for 6 months. Maybe you can guess how many people actually came to view the unit. I only managed to bring about 3 groups over the 6 months period, so it was quite crazy, because I think at the PSF, the quantum for this one-bedder, it was 2 million over at that time for a 1-bedroom. I think this is not your common buyers in this area, yeah. So I think overall, I'm still very glad that I managed to offload this unit for my owner back in 2021. You can take a look at the recent transactions now, but overall, I just think like this is not your typical buyers, and they are really looking more for the trophy house kind of vibes. And of course, I would have to say, if you are a buyer, right, and you want to look to exit fast in this area, I definitely don't think like Wallich will be that kind of property. It's more really is for you to enjoy. And my previous owner, they also really like this area. They really appreciated the view, the convenience towards the MRT and towards the eateries, all this. It's a very lifestyle area. For those of you that want to exit fast one, I definitely don't think this is the kind of property that you should be looking at. But it's really more of the for you to enjoy the area, the convenience towards the town area and other parts of Singapore, and also the sea view and freehold premium if let's say you're going for Newport Residences. And these are some of the recent transactions, right, for the 2 bedrooms at Wallich Residences. And you can see the most recent one, November 2025. This is a 2-bedder at the 48th floor. And this is a 861 square feet layout time, 2.788 million. So the PSF is transacted about 3,002 already. And then you can see the range for this year is about 3,002 all the way to 3,004 PSF range. Next up, for the 2-bedders, I'm going to be talking on 1 Bernam. So for 1 Bernam, I think quite similar. The expected TOP date is this year or maybe 2026 already. And then the launch date is at May 2021 lah. And number of stories we are looking at is 35th floor. And the number of units over here is 351 units. So the breakdown, you got 87 one-bedders, 232 two-bedders, 3 bedrooms, you got 29 units, and then penthouse, you have 3 units as well. So here we have the 1 Bernam's site plan. This is kind of how it looks like on per floor basis. And then you can see basically stack 1 to 7 will be towards the Angkor Street side, where else the stack 8 to 12, right, this will be facing towards Newport Residences, that side. On the right side, you also got the facilities, all that. Okay, I won't go through too much already on the prices for 1 Bernam because I already covered them just now. But basically, in January this year, the price range is between 2003 to 2004 PSF that was done on the lower end lah. So you can kind of see, right, right, these are the layouts for the 3 developments. So on the very left, we have Newport Residence, 2-bedroom premium, 710 square feet. And then in the middle, we have Wallich Residence, 2-bedder, 861 square feet. And then last but not least, we also have the one Bernam's 2+ study at 807 square feet. So when you compare these 3, right, definitely Newport Residence, the layout is going to be quite standard and it is the smallest one. So definitely in terms of quantum, right, it's going to be much more affordable lah. But of course, since it is a freehold development, then maybe that whole equation might be changed. But overall, it's very efficient and it gets the job done as 2-bedder, which is a dumbbell layout. Okay. And then next up, you see for Wallich Residence, right, they actually focus a lot more on the bigger layout for the living area. So that's why you can see they put the kitchen, right, as an open kitchen. Even the 1-bedder was also an open kitchen. This one I think really, maybe you can leave in the comment section, because for my previous owner, right, they don't really cook one. Actually, they really go downstairs, eat at the eateries or that, or maybe they dabao up, or even order delivery. For them, it's not really or they will cook at home much kind of thing lah. This one is at 861 square feet, so definitely it's a much bigger 2 bedrooms. And then you can see for the bedrooms at the Wallich Residence, right, actually it's quite small. They have like a half a wardrobe, and then you got the bed, then you can put a bedside table lah. But other than that, then the master bedroom, actually same thing, just a king size bed, and then you can put a wardrobe. But other than that, it's really just on the convenience and the spaciousness of the living room itself. So very different selling points. And then last but not least, we have one Bernam. So this one is a 807 square feet 2+ study. And then you can see they put the study area at the entrance. I mean, this one probably it won't be used as a study. My gut feel is that they will use it as like a storage area. So this one maybe is main selling point versus these other 2, because for the Newport Residence and also Wallich Residence, I don't really see storage provision. Maybe for Newport, right, you have this space beside the fridge area, you can potentially still put some storage space, but other than that, you don't have a dedicated like storeroom kind. But one Bernam, this study area, I can foresee people making this into a storage area. Maybe you can put your luggage, your ironing board, all these things. But overall, you can see it's still quite an efficient layout, open kitchen as well. So I think compared to Newport Residences, it is the only one with the enclosed kitchen. But of course, this is for this particular layout comparison, because I'm taking all the smaller ones already. One Bernam and also Wallich Residence. And then you can see quite standard balcony and then the 2 bedrooms. Last but not least is a bonus one. This is Onze at Tanjong Pagar. So why I never use this as a main case study, right? Because although this is a freehold development completed in 2017, but overall I feel because the layout is quite different from what we expect here. So for the 1-bedders, you got 28 units, and then 3-bedders, you got 28 units as well. So total you got 56 residential units and then 13 commercial units. And honestly, the number of transactions here is very limited. The most recent one was at November 2023. So this one is 18th floor lah, 1-bedder, 570 square feet. It's quite standard. It's transacted at 1.27 million at 2226 PSF. So honestly, I think because this is a smaller development, right, in terms of PSF as a freehold development, I think it's quite low lah, especially in this area, CCR. So I would say here, you can see on Property Guru, right, there's a lot of the 1-bedrooms and especially the 3-bedrooms on sale. So this is just one example, right, that I pulled out from the Property Guru itself. So you can see you have 7 units available for the 3-bedders lah, at the ones at Tanjong Pagar. And then you can see this 3-bedder 1141 square feet unit, freehold, TOP in 2017. So this is asking at 2.8 million, 2004 PSF range. So honestly, right, for CCR 2004 PSF, freehold, less than 10 years old, I really think this is quite a steal. But why is it not moving in this development? So potentially, when I look at the site plan, all this, it's kind of lacking also lah, because it's a smaller development despite its freehold status. And on top of that, if you look at this layout, right, you can see, I think the good point is that it has a private lift. But if you look at it closely, right, it has 2 private terraces and also a foyer area. So this kind of results in a lot of wasted space in terms of the 1141 square feet layout, okay? And if you look at the unit itself, they even added this household shelter. So in terms of storage space, definitely is quite sufficient. But overall, right, it does feel like the unit is a bit cramped, because you see the living room area, the dining area, it doesn't have like a proper dining space per se. They also connected to the master bedroom, they have this entertainment room as well. So I mean, I think the lifestyle wise is quite decent lah. But overall, I just feel like maybe the entertainment room, it might have been more useful if it was just combined together with the living room area, or it was segregated as a separate bedroom itself. I think overall the trend of this kind of layout maybe it's been less popular over the years. That's why there hasn't been any transactions here for the 3-bedders, especially in the last 1-2 years, even at this PSF. And this is also a freehold development. And just to point out another thing, their bedroom 3 is definitely a lot smaller. I think this is even smaller than what we see at the Wallich Residence, the 2-bedder, one of the smaller bedrooms. I think this is even smaller. Yeah, so I think overall this is what we see at the ones at Tanjong Pagar, and this is a freehold development. After I share all these things in this very long video, right, what's the conclusion actually? So main thing is, right, I think if you are a buyer looking to exit fast one, you want like, hey, I want a 4-5 year exit horizon, I don't think Newport Residences is the product for you, because in the end, serving buyers and sellers in this area, especially in the ultra lux segment, I already know like what are the buyers looking out for and what is the supply and demand like here. So if you're looking for a quick exit, I don't think this is it for you. And for those of you that is looking to buy here, your main objective, it should be just enjoying the convenience of the Tanjong Pagar area. Maybe you work nearby there, or maybe you just want a 2-bedder that is of a good layout, then you want to rent it out. I think overall rental yield here is going to be fantastic, and since it is a freehold development, your value is going to hold well. But in the end, if you're looking more than that, you want to do capital appreciation, this one is going to be not very straightforward here. Yeah, because you already can see like even for ones at Tanjong Pagar, the pricing is stagnating for the freehold development, and also even one Bernam, you're gonna be having a big price gap versus what we see at Newport Residences. Exit in 2030 onwards, right, it's gonna be quite a lot on what we see. Hopefully one Bernam will go up in price, but if one Bernam is not gonna go up in price, right, then I think exit is gonna be a little bit different. When you sell in the resale market, it will be based on bank valuation already. So it's completely different, because when you sell new launch, right, I think the banks will usually match the developer's pricing, but when they sell in the resale market, the banks will actually look at the neighboring plots. So that one is another can of worms that I don't really want to discuss in this video. You can WhatsApp me at 84849302 to find out more. I think it's more suitable for people looking for long-term stay at Newport Residences. Alright, so thanks for staying all the way to the end of the video. And for those of you that enjoyed this video, you can feel free to leave a like and subscribe. And also for those of you that like this kind of detailed analysis videos, right, you can feel free to check out my YouTube channel where I've done similar in-depth analysis for other new launches and also on the market on 2026 and beyond. Alright, so and for those of you that is interested in this development, you want to take a look at the Showflat preview, you can feel free to contact me at 84849302. I'll be looking forward to hear from you guys. Alright, bye.